Welcome. Today I'll be reviewing Prancer 1989, a well intentioned but dull, heavy, and surprisingly joyless Christmas movie. Prancer is one of those Christmas movies that people often remember fondly, mostly because of how it looks and what it's trying to say. But actually sitting down and watching it, I found it boring, dull, long, and emotionally heavy, and not in a rewarding way. So I'm landing at about a 3 out of 10. I really didn't like this movie. I know it's harsh, but hey. Right away, the movie establishes its tone. It's going to be quiet, slow, and really serious. We spend a lot of time in a small Midwestern town with snowy fields, empty roads, and muted winter colors. And to be fair, the atmosphere is one of the film's stronger points. The setting genuinely feels cold and isolated and grounded. And in the early scenes, like when Jessica first discovers the injured reindeer in the barn, there's a sense of mystery that, well, briefly pulls you in. The problem is that the movie never really builds on that mystery. Jessica finds Prancer, believes he might be one of Santa's reindeer, and hides him away. That setup should carry a sense of wonder or tension, even, but instead it's handled in a very flat, repetitive way. Pretty boring, actually. Scene after scene plays out the same. Jessica checks on Prancer, whispers to him, worries about him, and then she leaves. And, the whole ambiguity of whether Prancer is magical or just an animal is maintained, but the movie does very little with it, dramatically speaking. Where the film really starts to drag is in its pacing, and it drags badly. The movie moves incredibly slow, long stretches pass where almost nothing happens, and many scenes linger far longer than they need to. Conversations are quiet, restrained, and often emotionally heavy, especially at home. The family drama, particularly involving the father, is meant to give the movie emotional weight, but is leaned on so heavily that it becomes exhausting, like really exhausting. Nearly every interaction with him is tense, somber, or outright miserable. Instead of contrasting the darkness with warmth or humor, the movie just keeps pressing down on the same emotional note. It doesn't feel reflective, it feels, well, what's the word I'm looking for? Oppressive. Even scenes that should feel uplifting or magical are weighed down by the seriousness. When Jessica sneaks food to Prancer or talks about Christmas and belief, there's no sense of joy or excitement whatsoever. It's all handled with this hushed, solemn tone that drains the life out of what should have been or could have been a whimsical idea. The child performance at the center is solid. Jessica feels like a real kid, and her belief never comes across as annoying or forced, so she does a good job. But a strong performance can only do so much when the script gives her very little variety. She spends most of the movie worried, sad, or quietly hopeful, and that emotional range never really expands. So that makes the movie dull and you know dragging and all of it. Visually, the movie often feels small and restrained, almost to say as if it is a TV movie. Scenes are staged simply, the camera rarely does anything interesting, and the film avoids spectacle entirely. There's no joy, no spectacle to be found in this movie whatsoever. That can work for intimate stories, sure, but here it just adds to the feeling that the movie is dragging its feet. It's really bleak. By the time the story reaches its final act and the mystery around Prancer is resolved, the payoff feels, well, dull. It feels muted. The emotional resolution arrives, but it doesn't feel earned so much as expected. After spending so much time in a heavy, joyless atmosphere, the movie suddenly wants you to feel uplifted, but it hasn't given you enough warmth along the way to make that moment land. And that really is the core issue with Prancer. It is sincere, it's well intentioned and thoughtfully made, I think, but it's also very slow and somber, bleak and emotionally draining. Like, why? It feels more like a winter drama that happens to take place at Christmas than an actual Christmas movie. I really don't understand why people like this movie so much. There's very little humor, if any, and for a Christmas movie, I was expecting some magic. There's no magic in this movie, and I'm not talking magic like Harry Potter, but that sense of wonder. The quiet tone might work for some viewers, but it definitely didn't work for me. It crossed the line from gentle into dull. Watching it felt like a chore rather than a cozy holiday experience. And in the end, Prancer isn't offensively bad, not at all, but it's deeply unengaging and, well, dull. It has atmosphere and sincerity for sure, but not enough heart, not enough wonder or momentum to justify its runtime. So for me, that puts it at a 3 out of 10. Respectable intentions, but to be honest, a very miserable watch. But that's just my take on the movie. I didn't enjoy it. Let me know what you think of the movie, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye bye.